They can turn an amicable relationship into a long-lasting feud where everybody gets hurt. And they can sour hopes for a fair settlement. What makes emotions so troubling? They can divert attention from substantive matters. If you or the other person gets upset, each of you will have to deal with the hassle of emotions. Should you storm out of the room, apologize, sit quietly and fume, your attention shifts from reaching a satisfying agreement to protecting yourself or attacking the other. Emotions can damage a relationship. Unbridled emotions may be desirable when falling in love, but in a negotiation, they reduce your ability to act wisely. Strong emotions can overshadow your thinking, leaving you at risk of damaging your relationship. In anger, you may interrupt the long-winded comments of a colleague who is just about to suggest an agreement workable for both of you. And in resentment, he may retaliate by remaining silent the next time you need his support. Emotions can be used to exploit you. If you flinch at another negotiator's proposal or hesitate before telling them your interests, these observable reactions offer clues about your true concerns and vulnerabilities. Careful observers of your emotional reaction may learn how much you value proposals, issues, and your relationship with them. They may use that information to exploit you. If those are possible results of emotions, it is not surprising that a negotiator is often advised to avoid them altogether. Although emotions are often thought of as obstacles to a negotiation, and certainly can be, they can also be a great asset. They can help us achieve our negotiating purpose, whether to find creative ways to satisfy interests or to improve a rocky relationship. President Carter used the power of emotions during the historic peace negotiations between Israel and Egypt. He invited Israel's Prime Minister, Menachem Begin, and Egypt's President, Anwar Sadat, to Camp David. His goal was to help the two leaders negotiate a peace agreement. After 13 long days, the negotiation process was breaking down. The Israelis saw little prospect for reaching agreement. By this time, Carter had invested a lot of time and energy in the peace process. He could easily have expressed frustration, perhaps approaching Begin with a warning to accept his latest proposal or else. But an adversarial approach might have caused Begin to abandon the negotiation process completely. It would also have risked damaging the personal relationship between the two leaders. Instead, Carter made a gesture that had a significant emotional impact. Begin had asked for autographed pictures of Carter, Sadat, and himself to give to his grandchildren. Carter personalized each picture with the name of a Begin grandchild. During the stalemate in the talks, Carter handed Begin the photographs. Begin saw his granddaughter's name on the top photograph and spoke her name aloud. His lips trembled. He shuffled through the photographs and said each grandchild's name. He and Carter talked quietly about grandchildren and about war. This was a turning point in the negotiation. Later that day, Begin, Sadat, and Carter signed the Camp David Accord. The open discussion between Carter and Begin could not have happened if there were a poor relationship between them. Begin talked to Carter about difficult issues without resisting or walking out. The groundwork of positive emotions allowed non-threatening conversation about serious differences. Now, this groundwork did not just happen. It took work, honest work. Carter and Begin began to establish rapport at their first meeting more than a year prior to the negotiation. They met at the White House, where Carter invited the Prime Minister for an open, private discussion about the Mideast conflict. Months later, Carter and his wife invited Begin and his wife to a private dinner, where they talked about their personal lives, including the murder of Begin's parents and his only brother and the Holocaust. Later, during the Camp David negotiation, Carter demonstrated that he was looking out for each party's welfare. For example, before Begin met with Sadat for the first time at Camp David, Carter alerted Begin that Sadat would present an aggressive proposal. He cautioned Begin not to overreact. Carter did not want the negotiation to fail, nor did Begin or Sadat. Everyone had an interest in winning, and positive emotions between Carter and each leader helped to move the negotiation forward. In an international or in an everyday negotiation, positive emotions can be essential. They can benefit you in 3 important ways. First, positive emotions can make it easier to meet substantive interests. Positive emotions toward the other person reduce fear and suspicion, changing your relationship from adversaries to colleagues. As you work side by side on your problems, you become less guarded. You can try out new ideas without the fear of being taken advantage of. With positive emotions, you're motivated to do more. Things get done more efficiently as you and others work jointly and with increased emotional commitment. You're more open to listening and more open to learning about the other party's interests, making a mutually satisfying outcome within your reach. As a result, your agreement is more likely to be stable over time. Second, positive emotions can enhance a relationship. Positive emotions can provide you with the intrinsic enjoyment that comes from a person-to-person interaction. You can enjoy the experience of negotiating and the personal benefits of camaraderie. You can talk comfortably without the fear of getting sidetracked by a personal attack. That same camaraderie can act as a safety net. It can allow you to disagree with others, knowing that even if things get tense, each of you will be there tomorrow to deal with things. Third and finally, positive emotions need not increase your risk of being exploited. Although positive emotions may help you produce a mutually satisfying agreement, there is a danger that you may feel so comfortable that you make unwise concessions or act with overconfidence. Our advice is not to inhibit positive emotions, but rather to check with your gut and your head before making decisions. Before committing to an agreement, check that it satisfies your interests. Draw on standards of fairness. Know each person's alternative to a negotiated agreement, and use that information wisely. Despite knowing that emotions can harm or help a negotiation, we still have little guidance on how to deal with them. How can we reap their benefits? It is sometimes suggested that negotiators stop having emotions, ignore them, or deal directly with them. None of those suggestions helps. You cannot stop having emotions any more than you can stop having thoughts. At all times, you are feeling some degree of happiness or sadness, enthusiasm or frustration, isolation or engagement, pain or pleasure. You cannot turn emotions on and off like a light switch. Consider the experience of Michelle, a researcher who was just offered a job at a big pharmaceutical company. She was initially excited about her compensation, until she discovered that 2 other recent hires had been offered higher initial salaries. She was upset. She was confused. From her point of view, her qualifications far outshone theirs. Michelle decided to negotiate for a higher salary. When asked what her negotiation strategy was, she said, "I plan to negotiate rationally. I'm not going to let emotions enter into our conversation. I just want to talk numbers." She tried to persuade a company executive that if others of equal caliber received a higher salary, she deserved a similar compensation. Good, principled approach. Unfortunately, the negotiation did not go well. Her emotions failed to stop during the negotiation, even though she presumed she had them under control. As Michelle recalls,
"The tone of my voice was more abrasive than usual. I didn't want it to be that way, but it was. I felt upset that the company was trying to hire me for less money than the other 2 new hires. The company's negotiator interpreted my statements as demands. I was surprised when the negotiator said that he refused to be arm-twisted into giving a salary raise to anyone, let alone a new hire. I wasn't trying to coerce him into a salary raise, but my emotions just didn't switch off the way I had hoped."
In most circumstances, negotiators would be foolish to turn off emotions even if they could. Stopping emotions would make your job harder, not easier. Emotions convey information to you about